Welcome back to On the Ground. So, on today's episode, I'm here at the local Honda dealership. They sell some other machines, Can-Am, Kawasaki, Yamaha, but I usually option for Honda. I've been looking at these Pioneer 520s. Don't know that I'll get one. I just look. I'm not the biggest fan of side by sides. There's a number of reasons why. But these ones kind of appeal to me because they're compact in size. And I'm aware there's plenty of reviews on them. Not a lot of footage on YouTube, but some content. But they also have a used 2017. I don't know how much they want for it. I don't know the miles. I was here the other day, but I don't recall seeing it. Doesn't appear to be in bad shape. But I'd have to really make an evaluation on that if I'm interested in or decide to actually try to get one or get one. If it's a 2017, it doesn't appear that there's anything wrong with it. I think they made some changes. I think there's a frame component that they added on the 520s. I know it's a different engine. And what else was it? Another has the dump box or the cargo bed is different. The only it doesn't look like it was abused. It's in Wisconsin, so I mean I don't know. It doesn't look like it was used too bad. I don't see any damage to it or anything like that. Let's see. I mean, it's a used one. It's what, 8 years old? 7 years old? So, about 8 years old. I mean, for 8 years, it's not in bad shape. I'd have to check the mileage. If it's on the trails in Wisconsin, it's not too much. It depends how much they would ask for. It's not uncommon for dealerships to try to make money off used machines more so than the new ones. I'll look into it. I don't know that I would get it. But it does come with, I guess that's the Honda one. No, it may be EMP. That's the windshield. EMP is the windshield. And the top, which is fine. I think I'd get either one. I'd get the back part that you can get. I think it helps with dust issues. I think that's one of the things people complain about. I don't know that there's much difference in the 2017 gearing and 2025 520s. But I do think there's an additional frame support here. There may be some other changes. Let's see, what kind of, is that dirt? Yeah, it's dirt. Let's see. There seemed to be some rust on that exhaust. I'm not a big fan of that. Depends how much they rode it on salty roads or anything. Up here does seem to be some rust on the inside of there. And in there, I don't know if they would rust that way down in West Virginia. But, I was actually looking at these when they were supposed to be available in 2024. compared to the 520s. I believe the 2015, maybe 2017. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check. I know the first year they had lower gearing. They changed the gearing, but maybe people thought it was too low. But in southern West Virginia, that's not really a bad thing. But it don't look like it's in really bad shape. But I don't know. This one here, I think that's brand new. It's just got dust on it. We'll go look at some of these other machines. We'll go here and look at these. I'm only really interested in the 520s. These other machines, while I could technically afford it, I'm not interested in spending that much on one. But, I mean, it looks similar. I'll have to review the video footage. I'll put the GoPro on. I don't have it on the helmet, but I got the head strap. Where's all my helmets in West Virginia? This is the slate gray, which I kind of like the slate gray. I already have the Rancher in red. This must be the bar that they added. I think this bar is new. That's the 520 engine. Again, I'll have to do some additional review. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought, oh, here it is. I was looking for this lever because I was under the impression it's not, and it is. The airbox appears to be different than on at least the orientation, than on the 500. It might have a little more get up and go because it's the 520 engine. But kind of, if the other one's geared lower, it'd be a little more appealing. But I don't understand why the other one has rust here on the inside. I'll have to double check that. And this, obviously has a new exhaust. There's nothing I clearly notice right now that's really much different. The frame's probably a little modified. I don't know if it's set up this way on the other or not. I'll have to double check. But for a side-by-side, see the other one, because it has a windshield, which is not unaddressable. But, with just a few things, you can get in here and put you some storage or a heater unit for these little things and stuff. Doesn't seem like it has an adequate roll cage. I'm sure it's probably sufficient for what it is. Let's see here. This is just a little assessment. I think it tops out at about between 37 and 40. I do have a Teriyaki 35% gear reduction kit. I bought it initially for the Rancher, but I also believe it'll work on this engine and the 520 Foreman foot shift or electric shift, maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it'll work on this too if I wanted to. The first gear on this one, at least based on the teeth of the first gear, it's like 47, I think, 48 tooth, and on the Rancher the first gear is like 54, I think. But the second gear on this one is lower, at least based on the gear teeth. On second is lower on this one than on the Rancher. So in the mountains of West Virginia, I don't know how it would perform. It may be fine. Kind of unusual that I don't know what it feels like as far as riding it, but the first gear seemed like they would make it lower because it weighs more than on the Rancher. But This machine only goes like up to 37, 40. So if you did put a gear reduction kit, I did the math, it probably top out with the same size tires about 20, between 24 and 26, so about 25 miles an hour if you did that, which is really fast enough in the hills of West Virginia. Those trails are pretty technical, and you don't really get much faster than that in most places other than on the road if you're riding on the road. But let's take a look here. It's basically going to be the same setup for the most part, I think, other than it's new. Let's see, that's reverse and that's park. But of course, this one's probably going to be about 11-ish out the door. I don't know. It's going to be under 12 out the door. It don't have the windshield and the top. And of course, that's a used one. So I don't know how much you'd save. I'd have to do the math on that and weigh my options if I did. But one of the things, the wheelbase length may be fine for steep climbing in West Virginia. Maybe a metal skid plate underneath it. Either one. The width though, and the stock tires, I don't know what these sidewalls. It's 4-ply, but you're going to need a few options. I think they have different A-arms you can get. There's different shocks you can get. You can get offset rims with 6-ply tires that might have a flatter surface, which would keep that, if it's tilted this way or this way without rolling over. You can put wheel spacers, offset rims, or something that it'd be sticking out and probably sling mud and dirt and stuff on the side. But if you're riding up in the mountains in West Virginia, you're going to be facing situations where you're going to be, and you don't want to roll over from side to side. But from this angle, if you're climbing, then you got a pretty good, don't have to worry too much about that. But the weight should be down low. I've heard people mention it before. Let's see if we can adjust it a little bit. The weight's kind of down low. Let's zoom back out. So, it shouldn't be much of an issue. You want that low center of gravity in those mountains. I mean, once you start going off the Hatfield-McCoy trails, and Lord willing, I'll get footage of that in the future sometime. You'll see what I mean as far as just how technical and difficult it gets, and issues you might run into. We don't want, while depending on the situation, don't want to really roll it over. I mean, this one wouldn't be as bad as one of the bigger ones. If you got a winch and maybe a few pulleys or something, I don't think you'll be able to flip it back over by yourself. And I think that'd be a bit much for the average person. So I'm gonna make a separate video on maybe some of these machines. I'm gonna get the GoPro out and see what that footage looks like from like a POV standpoint. And another thing is, I think I'm going to try to look into getting different lenses for the GoPro that might make a difference, because the way it's like it pushes everything back. Like when I'm riding, I can clearly see those bears, but unless I zoom it in, most people aren't going to see it. Maybe if they have it on a big TV in 4K or something, or 5K, depends on what the footage shot in. You probably can see them clearly. But when you're riding, you can see it much clearer. That's why I'll say, there's the bear. But you can't really see it if you're watching on the phone. You got to zoom in and stuff. If it's in 4K, you'll see it. But it's definitely, the depth of perception or whatever is not as it really is in person. So that I need to work on. Here's a Can-Am. Now this one would probably be, not quality wise, it's not on Honda's level in my opinion, but climbing from side to side, well, so anyway, you know what I'm saying, climbing, because of the longer wheelbase, they allow you to go more vertical without the risk of flipping back. But gravity factors in, traction factors in, and you can go start climbing and shift. There's a number of factors. Now, width wise on this, for example, I don't know the price. This isn't something I'm really looking at, but you can see it's wider, so it might allow for. And as far as the center of gravity, where's the engine at? Well, that's where the engine is. It's not really probably the best place for it. You want that engine in the center on the bottom. But going down it'd be fine, but going up it might pull you back more. You probably need some form of counterbalance, which doesn't seem to be practical for this machine. I'm not a big Can-Am fan. The Rotax engine's okay, which I've said many times in the past, but the overall quality in those mountains, they've just not proven to be able to handle it for the long term on a regular use. You gotta understand, like for me, living there, being from there, I may take a ride every morning for a couple hours for years, it adds up. But that's the normal, and that's how rough the terrain is. And we not just me, we've seen what machines can handle that regularly, and Honda usually performs the best as far as durability. Can-Am players just don't seem to really handle it. They don't look like they're built bad, but they just don't invest in overall quality. The engine should be fine, but they just don't invest in it. They got performance going for them, and the engine's okay, but the CVT and electrical and people have problems with it. There's thousands of people that come in over the years, and it's not uncommon to see a Can-Am players both break axles and breakdown, electrical fires. They look good, but they just don't seem to be able to handle the abuse. It depends where you ride. Now, if you ride in relatively flat areas and maybe you just use it to tow and haul stuff, it may do okay. This is a Can-Am Defender, and it's pretty nice. Don't get me wrong. This thing's, when you get in it, it smells like a new car. That's that plastic and glue and all that stuff. But it's the fit and finish. Like, this feels like you're more in an actual vehicle. The other ones, you feel like you're still in a side by side. I'm sure if you rode this, it'd sound like it and everything. But it's got HVAC, heating and cooling. This would be nice. It's just, and it's probably not cheap, with power windows and air conditioning and heating. This one's probably, they sometimes do, but they don't usually leave it out there. It looks like you can do that, which in hot weather, that's an ideal thing. That's almost a necessity. It'll burn up in here, but it does have AC. I don't know. This one's, like I said, the fit finish on this isn't bad. It's what's underneath all this plastic. And that's something we know from experience. You know, you'd have to, up here it might not be too bad because there are a lot of flat trails, but down there, you need something that's can handle it. The problem with Can-Am is they don't use real thick of steel or strong of steel. I've seen people put hitches on them. Now this might not be everybody's experience, but on the Outlanders, I've seen people put hitches on them and it bend the frame because they put too much weight on it. Which I always advise people not to really tow too much with these things, even within their respective capacity for the long term. Reliability purpose. I mean, that was kind of a issue. There is some shortcomings with the CVT on these. I don't know if the CVT is the same as on the Outlanders, but on the Outlanders, they got bearing, roller bearing issues and stuff. The P-drop system's been on the snowmobiles for years. It's new for the Outlanders, but it requires maintenance that's not scheduled maintenance, and it requires preventive maintenance to prevent it from happening, and it has to be done at least every 500 miles would be my advice. Thought there was something I was going to check on that one. I want to show you these Kawasaki bridges. Now I know how much they cost now. The XR, this is an XR. It's nice though. Inline 4. It has a inline 4 engine. Let's see. It's Japanese quality, so it's a reliable engine. The CVT, it's a CVT. Why some people might not want to buy a CVT. The Kawasaki and Yamaha CVTs are pretty good. They're better than Can-Am players. They last and hold up over time. Way better. The framing, let's see, check the welds. Don't look too bad. The thickness and gauge metal on this, pretty good. I've not known Kawasaki's to have electrical issues. These I think have additional LED lights here. I mean, depending on what you use it for, they may be subject to this bumper here. This right here seems not real thin, not like Can-Am thin, but still. But sometimes I think they make these bumpers here more collapsible. It's not the same metal and thickness and gauge of steel as the actual frame. I mean, this is designed to absorb the impact, I believe, with some robustness. But to avoid being the frame. But this one has similar things to that Pioneer here. I think that's just for maintenance purposes. I don't know. There's your fuses. So I think that's what that's for. Let's see here. I don't think they're not in today. This is a Sunday. But I can still look without being bothered. You know, they like I said, I didn't have no issues with buying a machine here. I didn't have no issues with these people. They didn't try to force me to. They did go over the extended warranty, but they didn't really press it. It's a pretty smooth process. This is inside the ridge. I don't know if the wind noise and stuff would be. It didn't seem as premium. It's still nice, don't get me wrong. It's not a deal breaker. It just doesn't seem quite as sealed up as the Can-Am inside. But like I said, it's underneath the plastic and the engine, the tranny that matters. This one I think is going to be much more durable in that respect. It's got a console like a truck. And one of the first things I noticed in sitting in one of these, I didn't know much about them until I came over here the other day. I made some videos, but I just want to make a different one. This is pretty nice. This seat is pretty comfortable. I don't know that I've ever sat in a seat that I thought was this comfortable. I don't know if it's about the suspension. That one over there wasn't bad either in that Defender. But yeah, this thing's got power windows, HVAC, dome light, felt. It's got, you know, it's almost like being in a little truck. I like it. It's got a windshield wiper. It's pretty nice. The interior is not quite as good, I think. I like it though. It's not, like I said, a deal breaker. It's not quite as good feeling as that in that Can-Am, but I think this machine can handle rough terrain, will last longer than that one. Maybe not quite as good as the Pioneer 1000. I'll go and look at that. The Pioneer 1000 is like 18 as is without cabs and stuff. And you'd have to do the math on how much, like if you wanted to add all the stuff basically this one has. On that, you'd have to do the math. This one right here, this XR, they got a limited too, and they got a regular one somewhere. I'll see if they got one in the over here. This one's $29,000. It was a little more than I initially thought. I thought maybe 22, 25, but it's $29,000. Now the limited is $32,000, and they have, I guess, non-cab version. I think it's maybe 21, 22. You'd have to look on their website, MSR. But yeah, so I mean, you could buy a Toyota Tacoma two-wheel drive base model SR for about that. You know, I think they started selling Kawasaki, so they just got a large shipment of them in. I guess they basically all the same. They did have a limited out here. They may have already sold it. It may be out back, so I think they may be, or inside, they may have rotated them. But, I mean, that's just a bit much, 29. That's really up there in price. But, I mean, it's nice. I mean, I had it brute force, and it lasted without issues. It was just a gas guzzler. It's the only drawback with that one. These are the 4-seater Pioneers. Let's go sit in one of these Pioneer 1000s. We'll go for the green. I did want to point out that my dad has one. It's a, I don't know, 2017, 2018 or something like that. Camo crew cab one. I don't know if his has that much ground clearance. It might. But man, the ground clearance on this thing was just something that really got my attention. It did, it really did. I don't want this video going too long, but yeah, it's pretty substantial, in my opinion. But it's wide enough, I think, to compensate for it. We took his crew on one of those where it's sideways, you know, and it did pretty good. But see, I like the ergonomics of this. I like the ergonomics of this. I'm a Honda fan. See, it's not bad on this. I don't know, it's not as comfortable as that Kawasaki, or maybe even that Can-Am, but it's all right. But this is a machine you kind of want for long term in the mountains, because it's solid for what it is. It's got a reliable, durable engine. It's got a reliable, durable build. But this is kind of what you want down there. But and I like the stock tires. The only problem I noticed with them was the when you want the cab doors, it's crank, it's not power. I mean, I don't know what other alternatives you have, but the Honda ones are like $6,000 just for the doors. Now the windshield top and the back and stuff isn't priced like that. I don't know why if I'm telling you correctly, it's like $6,000, maybe less, but I think it's $6,000. But I was looking at this one. It depends what they were asking for this. They said, "Oh, we'll sell it to you for $5-ish." It'd be a lot more appealing. But I don't know what they would sell it for. I don't know what the miles are, you know. But it's okay. I mean, these things are proving themselves. Those are pretty nice. So I'm gonna get the GoPro out and do some POV views and see what that looks like sitting in it. And we'll get back with you. See you next time here on Honor.